Logan, yours was which one?
15.
Number 15. To be the bottom of this one here. Done. Let me get a little bigger. 15 children. First things first, let's deal with the number issue. What is 2 to the third power, Logan? 8. So you have no issue with where 8 came from? Now, what do we do with exponents when we multiply like bases together? What do you do with their exponents? For example, I have an x to the negative 1 and an x to the third. What do I do when I multiply those together? What is the rule? You add exponents. So you're going to take you're going to take negative 1 and add it to 3, and that's where x squared comes from. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So you probably could write a 1 there, but when you multiply 1 times anything, you get itself. So we don't. It's just 8x squared. Where did you go wrong, sir? Just so I have it.
I
Added,
subtracted.
you got negative 4. What did you get?
So I got something weird.
Cameron?
Is it y1 though, so there'd be 8x squared y?
Anything to the 0 power is 1. So you can cross this off and make it a 1, but 1 times anything is itself, so we don't. Anything to the 0 power is going to go away. Unless it's by itself, then you put the 1 there, but otherwise it's gone. Y to the 0 power is not the same as y to the first power. For the same reason when we do scientific notation, I told some of you before, sometimes when you did the problem you got a 10 to the 0 power. You can't just leave that off, or you can't say that's the same as 10 because it's not. 10 to the 0 power is 1. 10 by itself is 10. So you have to be careful with that. Certainly people out there must have missed more than just that one problem. Again, I can lead the horse to water. Ava Ricker.
I did 5.
Number 5. Okay. Now what is your issue with problem number 5? Can I ask? You don't even have to, children, in this case here, you don't have to, it didn't ask you to give area of any of that stuff, it just asked you to give the coordinates. You don't even have to draw this one out, because a scale factor of 3 just means that you multiply everything by 3. So this one, 2, 2, multiply both by 3, you're going to get 6, 6. Multiply both of these by 3, you're going to get negative 3, 6. Multiply these both by 3, you get negative 3, negative 3. And multiply these by 3, you get 6, negative 3. Don't have to even draw it out. It didn't say draw square. The word dilated means expands, gets bigger by a factor of. Contract means it gets smaller. Rotate. Does that help, Ava? Cameron.
I don't understand why I got number 6 wrong.
Six is always a good one there. Did you put 50? What did you put?
I got 45.
Where did 45 come from?
I
Just guess?
guess, but
Well, guessing rarely. Every now and then you get the or whatever there. Somebody help me out. First thing you need to know about this one is that in every triangle it's how many degrees? 180 degrees. That triangle has to equal 180 degrees. I know this one's 90. I don't know either of the two, but I can find them both out. First of all, they give this to you for a reason. If you know that this is 130 degrees and these form a straight line, then this angle would have to be, or supplementary we call that. How many degrees would that have to be? 130 plus what number is 180? This angle has to be 50 degrees. If you have to do the 180 minus 130 out and get to 50, that's fine. If you know this is 50 degrees, 50 plus 90 plus what number gives you 180? Or you know that these two have to equal 90 because that's 90. 50 plus what number is 90? X has to be 40 degrees. Has to be. 40 plus 50 plus 90 is 1. How many people got that wrong? Anybody want to tell me what their thought process is and how they got their number? Alex, how'd you get what number?
I didn't use 130 as something that I should have, and didn't use supplementary angles, so
But how would you come up with it without? I don't know any other way around that.
split 90 in half.
But you know, that would have been great if they would have told you that these two sides were equal, but they weren't and they aren't, so. Cameron?
I used 130 and then 130 plus X equals 180 degrees.
But it doesn't. 130 plus X doesn't equal 180. 130 plus this one you don't know. We have no formulas or things that say that. You don't have two parallel lines cut by a transversal, so you can't call them whatever things. Only two of this is going to be a good problem. Chris or Caitlin?
I don't know what I was supposed to do for number
Number
one.
1.
Yeah.
A storage room for tools. The room is 20 feet by 10 feet and 8 feet high. Find the capacity of the room in cubic feet. Anytime you're asked for capacity in cubic feet, what is that called in math? What is that called in math? When you're asked for capacity, how much it takes to fill something up, that is, Grace? Yeah, you're looking for the volume of that. Caitlin, did you draw the picture? Or
Yeah.
sketch it out? It is a 10 by 20 by 8. 10 by 20 by 8. 10 by 20 by 8. They're just asking you for the volume, and the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. Make sure that they're asking, they give you the dimensions in feet, they ask for their answer in feet, so you're just going to multiply 10 times 20 times 8. 200 times 8 is 1,600 cubic feet. I'm guessing tomorrow's will be just that simple. It'll probably be the same ordeal, just a little rectangular prism. Brooke Caleb, 2. Two. Although 6 of Simon's answers were incorrect, 85% of his answers were correct. How many questions did Simon answer wrong? Somebody can tell you what I'm going to tell you to do? Draw what? Percent box. What are we comparing? Correct answers to incorrect or not correct, however you want to say it, and then there's total. This box is going to stand for my percents, this one's going to stand for the actual. Well, what do I know? 85% of his answers were correct, correct? So you can fill in the rest of the percentages, right? 85, this incorrect would have to be 15, because they have to add up to 100% of the questions. Right? Sure, why not? And then what else going on? 6 of his answers were incorrect. So what box does that go into, Caleb? Next to what? Right. And you can put these in any order as long as they're total there. And I am asked for how many questions did Simon answer in all? Total. Totals. So there is your equal ratios. 15 over 100 equals 6 over what number? 15 over 100 equals 6 over what number? Anybody have some suggestions to me as to how I can solve that? The easiest way, the best way? There's a couple ways. Andrew?
Cross products.
Alright, let's just do cross products. You know that this times this, 15 times what number is 6 times 100, which is 600. Just divide by 15, divide by 15, it ends up being 40, as fate would have it. You probably could have reduced this down to something, I don't know if it would have changed anything, divided by 5, you get 3 over 20, 3 times 2, 20 times 2. We are on our way now, Alex?
I'm at 3.
Wow. The machine can produce 120 plastic dinosaurs in 8 minutes. How many can it produce in an hour? Anybody on that one? This is a one where you could do it kind of like the percentage box up there in that you're given one case and you want to find the other case. So you could do it up like this. In the first example, example number 1, what are you comparing? You're comparing dinosaurs, plastic dinosaurs, to what time it is. How many plastic dinosaurs did I do? 120 in how long? 8 minutes. I want to know how many plastic dinosaurs I can do in an hour, but I can't use hours because that's not the same time. How many minutes are in an hour? 60. Same thing. You're going to get those equal fractions. 120 over 8 equals what number over 60? You can still do it the same way, cross products. 8 times what number is 60 times 120? 60 times 120 is what? 7,200. Divide 7,200 by 8, and you're going to get 900. And again, you probably could have reduced this down to something where it would work. 8 probably goes into 120 15 times, so 60 times 15 is 900. That will work for you. Ava?
How did you know 14?
Love 14. Yeah, you were 14 minutes. Ava, what did you get for an answer?
I got 12 times 10 to the 7th power.
Okay, and that's probably where most people that got it wrong. You do this right. When you multiply scientific notation together, you multiply the left sides together. That's where 12 comes from. Times 10, and here's another case of adding exponents when you multiply 4 and 7. 12 times 10 to the 7th is very close to being right. The only problem with it is not in scientific notation anymore. Here would be the notes that I would write to myself. How do I make 12 times 10 to the 7th in scientific notation, David?
Make it include 1 10, so put a decimal including 1 and 2.
Right, the decimal starts here, so you need to move it because in scientific notation, numbers have to be between 1 and 10, so this becomes a 1.2. But because of that decimal move, I have to change my exponent of 10. And what I always think about is this: if I make this 1 smaller, my exponent has to become the opposite 1 bigger. So it should end up being 10 to the 8. And that's the same thing. I don't know if that happened. Did we have a division one before this or no? Was there a division one on here?
13 still.
Okay. This one works out nicely because 3 goes into 48 1.6 times and it's already in that. And here, make sure, okay, division is opposite of multiplication. You subtract exponents here, so 8 minus 5 is 3. Addition, subtraction. No!
How do you do 17?
17. Oh, these are our favorite things. No, what did you get? 2x to the 4th? Alright, here's the spiel, people. Okay, you are combining, or as the book calls them, collecting like terms. Like terms have to be the same letters to the same exponents. Here, x squareds, they're kind of snooty because they're like square people. They only like other x squareds. You can only put x squareds with other x squareds. 5x squareds mean you have this. You have 5x squareds. And to that, the only friends they're going to have are these this other x squared here. If I put 5x squareds with another x squared, they don't change the x to the fourths. Okay, they just become 6x squareds. When you multiply, that's when exponents change. When you add things together, exponents don't change. Here, okay, you have minus 3x's, which means it's like this, and you're subtracting another x, which means in the end you are taking away how many x's? 4 of them. Not x squareds, the exponents don't change. It's 6x squared minus 4x. They don't go together. You can't put x squareds with x's or x cubes or anything else there. Am I doing 18 while I'm here? 18 is virtually the same thing, and I was a little disappointed on your quizzes that we still aren't getting. Anytime you see parentheses, people, and numbers in front, you should think distributive property. It's not the first time. You can't do anything with this until you get rid of this parenthesis. And to get rid of that parenthesis, you have to multiply the 2 by both things inside the parenthesis. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative y is a negative 2y. And now I have this 3x here. What do you get if you put the x's together? You can't put the x's with the y. The negative 2y is going to stay. But here you have 3 x's, and you're adding 2 more x's to it. So that's a grand total of 5 x's. Not x squareds. Was multiplication? Yes. 3x times 2x would be 6x squared, but it's not. It's addition. And addition does not change the exponents. Okay, Brian. How do I do 11? Is that on this page or the first page? Oh, it's right there. Okay, Brian, we've seen probably 2 other problems that look just like that today. How did we do those? Yeah. Now remember, you can't, people, there's a difference between cross-canceling and cross-multiplication. Cross-canceling is when you multiply 2 fractions and you can reduce them before you multiply. That's not what we're doing here. Here we are cross-multiplying. 20 times x equals 12 times 35. 12 times 35, anybody? 420? I don't know. 35 times 12 is 70. 30, yeah, 420. 20x equals 420, so you just divide by 20. Just divide by 20, you get, what is it, 21. X equals 21. You probably, again, maybe could have reduced this. I don't know if it'll work, would it have? Sure, you could have divided 12 by 4 and got 3, divided this by 4 and got 5. 5 times 7 is 35, 3 times 7 is 21. Look at it this way, only an hour and 10 minutes to lunch. What do you think of that, Muzo, huh? Smiley face, I see. Logan? Who? Number 8. The diameter of a human hair might be 8 times 10 to the negative 5th meters. 8.0 times 10 to the negative 5th meters. Write that number in standard form. What did you write? Now, there's not a lot of big math here in this. Kids, this is scientific notation. If it's a positive exponent, it gives you a much bigger number. The decimal goes to the right. If it's a negative number, the decimal goes that many places to the left. You're just going to take this decimal and go 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, 4 jumps, 5 jumps backwards, and it's going to end up right here. And for every jump you don't have a digit, you need to place zeros in there. So you end up with 4 zeros and an 8. People like to sometimes get confused and they put 5 zeros there, but you gotta remember one of those jumps takes the number that wasn't the 10 in there. This should be an easy test for me, I thought. David says yes. And this will be, if you want to review it, I believe the website for the first day is back up and running. Remember, www.justconfusing.com. And it would be probably the only thing that'll be under 7th grade, because other else has been on. If I forget, or don't forget. Landon?
9.
9. I love 9. I don't know why, but I really do. For the function y equals x minus 2, make a table of ordered pairs and graph the function on a coordinate plane. X equals x minus 2. Did you make a table, sir?
Yeah.
What's that? So you didn't get an answer, or you did get an answer? You got an answer even though you didn't make a table? Because you could graph this, because we have graph by what, slope-intercept form, correct? But it said to make a table, but you didn't make a table even though it said to make a table?
No, I did this so
Okay, but it said to make a table. How do I know what my x numbers are gonna be? Stupford?
For example, if you put 6, it would be 4.
But where'd you get 6?
You just make it up.
There you go. You get to make up your own numbers. 6 minus 2 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. 0 minus 2 is -2. And then graph it. Don't try this at home. These are your ordered pairs, 6, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. And 0, -2. Your line should look like that. If you graphed it in slope-intercept form, yes, it crosses the y-axis at -2, and its slope goes up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. I kind of missed a little bit there. That's the gist of the line that I drew over there, I think. And Wilman,
I think 12.
I did 12 already, didn't I? Just kidding. Where's it at? Over here? Other page or other side? No, it's on the side. Somebody direct me here. 3x plus 1.8. This would be the asbestos lady. 3x plus 1.8 equals 6. Somebody, anybody? Remember, your goal with equations is to get the letter x by itself, so you gotta get rid of this 3 and you gotta get rid of that 1.8, and I have to do it in the right order because it won't work any other way. The first thing you have to get rid of, Madison, is, and how do I do it? Think opposites. It's plus 1.8, so you need to subtract 1.8. If you struggle with decimals, you're gonna struggle with this, but you need to line up your decimals there like such. This is 5, that's 10, this is 2, and that's 4.2 equals 3x. And then how do I separate the x with its good friend, the 3? 3 times x, the opposite of multiplication is division. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 4.2, again working with decimals hopefully, divided by 3, the decimal straight up, 1, 3, 12, 4. X would have to equal 1.4. Since we're all going to get good grades. There's got to be some more questions. No more questions? Don't make me stop when we start, people. Will not be a good day in 7th grade today. Come on. Huh? 4? Did I do 4 already? Oh, 4 is a good one. I'm surprised nobody else came up with that. Use unit multiplier to convert 1, 2, 3 feet to yards. Show your work. Rules with unit multipliers are as such. You take what they give you and put it over 1. So I'm going to do what? Takes 123 feet and put it over 1. Anybody, the next thing I do with unit multipliers? Cameron, you seem to be up on unit multipliers there with your long pen and whatever. What's my next step here, sir?
You try to cross cancel.
I don't have anything to cross cancel yet, so how do I?
I know how to do it, I'm just trying to figure out how to put it.
What would be the next thing you would do?
Across from it, we put 3 yards over 1 foot.
And why, how do I know that I put the foot on the bottom?
Because you want to cross cancel with 1 foot.
Exactly. Labels need to cross off, so if feet are here, they have to be there. I'm changing it into yards, and like it said, there's 3 feet in 1 yard. Feet cross off. I divide 3 into 123, and that is 41. And that's how many yards with whatever label I have left. Just that easy. Perfect. Take out a piece of scrap here.